In a recent, or maybe not so recent, depending upon when you're watching this video of mine, I took a look at how to upgrade from Linux Mint 18 to Linux Mint 19. Today, we're going to be doing something fairly similar. That is, we are going to be upgrading from Linux Mint Debian Edition, or LMDE, version 2, to LMDE 3, which is now out, and has been out for some unknown amount of time. I have not actually investigated. I don't really know. All I know is that today I checked to see, what is the most recent version of Linux Mint, Debian Edition, and it turns out that it's version 3, where this is only running version 2. Now, there are a couple of considerations that we need to make before beginning this. Number one, we need to have backups, and number two, we need to have the Cinnamon Edition, because reportedly, the mate version of this will not work. If you are wondering, I am using a guide here, a post for the Linux Mint community, which we can see here, says that the mate edition of LMDE was discontinued. So now that you've confirmed that you have Cinnamon, or at least you've managed to get the Cinnamon desktop loaded on your system, it's time to make backups, and you need to make these. The utility that we're going to use in this requires TimeShift to be installed and to have been configured in order to do this, but you do not want to necessarily just rely on system snapshots as your backup, because what happens if your hard drive screws up and you lose access to your system snapshots? Oops, there goes all your data. So the right thing to do would be to take a backup of all your personal information onto an external hard drive or a USB stick or something. I'm not doing that because I don't actually store anything on this computer. It really just sits around in my closet doing nothing, which is kind of unfortunate. But that's just the state of affairs. However, we do need to install TimeShift, which is what we are going to do right now. Assuming it's not already installed, because it might be. But it is not. So you can see it is going to install for us. This should be a fairly quick process, just like that. Okay, I went on and got a tripod because it's much easier to do it this way. So what I've done is I've installed it. See, it shows up under administration. We'll go ahead and open it and set it up. And hope that there is enough disk space. Oh, it wants a password. So if you're putting in your password, and I really hope it doesn't want a root password. No, it wants a root password. Okay, so if you haven't set a root password on your system, it probably just wants your regular password, but I have a root password set on this system because I like to do everything as root instead of using the sudo command because it's a lot less typing for me. So that's just one thing that I prefer. I don't believe you do get a choice when you are installing this, but I cannot remember for certain. Alright, so it's going to ask us to select our snapshot type. We can choose rsync or btrfs, but we're not using a btrfs partition, which it requires. Other layouts are not supported, so we're going to be forced to use the rsync. You're probably going to also want to use rsync as well, but if you have a btrfs file system, you might use that. That's btrfs. If you've got it, you may want to use it. Most people probably don't have it, though. So it's going to sit here and estimate our system size. Hopefully we've got enough storage space on the primary drive in order to do this. Again, it's not something I care about. I'm probably going to stop using it after this, because I don't really need to do that. If ever there came a problem, I'd probably just reinstall the OS anyway, because I don't keep anything on this system. Much the same as all of my test bed systems, I don't really keep anything on them. And that's all this really is. I don't do much with it because there isn't really much to do with it. Now it looks like we're going to be in luck. 38 gigabyte total partition size and 31 gigabytes free. So we've only got about 7 gigs used, which should be more than good enough. If ever you wanted a very good example of why you back up your data, there's a good example sitting right here. This is the HP DV8000. The hard drive in it, the primary drive, appears to have died a screaming death, or a silent death, because it didn't really do anything. I set it in my closet for about a month, and came back to it, and now it's so bad that I can't even scan the partition table on the drive. So, that's unfortunate. It's a good thing I don't have any data on that drive, because if I did, and I didn't have backups, I wouldn't be getting that back. There's no way to recover from this. So, let that be your lesson. Always take backups of your data, if you care about it. Okay, I've made my selection, so I'm going to click Next. Could click Finish here, but I don't know what other steps it's got. So we'll click Next. I think I'm going to disable all of the scheduled snapshots. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll make a daily deal. Or a monthly deal, at least. We'll click on Next again. Scheduled snapshots are enabled. System can be rolled back. Restoring snapshots only replaces system files. Non-hidden files and directories in user home will not be touched. Save snapshots to an external disk instead of the system disk to guard against drive failures. So again, if you cared about this, do as it says and not as I do. We're going to go ahead and create a snapshot because, as far as I remember, the Mint upgrade tool requires it anyway. And this may or may not take a while, as you can see right there. It's jumping all over the place. It could take a while. But it's basically copying everything using rsync from my system drive into some kind of a file. So when that finishes, I'll come back and we will have a look at what's going on. Yay, I/O errors. It's just filling the screen with them. It'll probably just go on forever, too. I've shut the system off. Okay, so once you have that done, you see it says Linux Mint 2. It's Linux Mint Debian Edition 2, but I guess it doesn't know the difference between the two of them, which is alright. I wouldn't expect that it would. The next thing that we need to do is we need to check our display manager. So, now because I don't remember exactly what file it is, I'm going to double check. I think it's etc X11 default display manager, yes. So I'm going to catalog that. Make sure that the capitalization is correct, because of course it's Linux, you need to do that. And we can see that we've got MDM. So, this needs to be changed. So how do we change it? Well, very simply actually. We need to install LightDM. So we will do that. LightDM, I believe we need LightDM-settings and select-greeter. Don't ask me what the greeter is for. I really don't know, but I know that the two LightDM packages are, or at least should be, fairly obvious. MDM stands for Mint Display Manager, and apparently it was removed in later versions, or it was changed in later versions of Linux Mint, Linux Mint 19 and LMDE 3. Alright, so we get a message here that says, configuring display manager is blah blah blah. Only one display manager can manage X server, blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. We want to choose LightDM as the default. So, there we go. It might ask me again, although it shouldn't. And that process is done. So now, oops, we need to purge. So you can see here, I'm running apt remove -- purge MDM and mint MDM themes star. I'm assuming the star in this case, or the asterisk, is a wildcard. Regex regular expression, yes, it's a wildcard. Alright. So it's removing quite a few packages here. So we will go ahead and remove them, just like that. Hopefully this will not cause any problems, but we have our system image if it does. Okay, so that's done. Now we need to reconfigure. So that would be dpkg-reconfigure. And that will be like DM. So we'll go ahead and do that. Reload system message bus config. Done. Now we must reboot the system. Now, you'll probably be doing this as regular user, and you will need to use the sudo commands for all of those. Like I said, I'm running this as root, so I'm not. Well, I did make note of the fact that it now does not automatically log me in. I'm going to assume that that's not a problem, but I guess I'll find out here in a second. I have had issues in the past with Linux machines that would not log you in. You'd log in, you'd push enter, you get a black screen for a few seconds, and it boots you right back out. We will see if that is the case here, and we'll see so recorded for all of you to watch, mostly because my reaction might be entertaining. I want to try and restrain myself from breaking the computer if that's the case. Nope, it is not the case, and that is very loud. Okay, so I've gone in here to login window, and it says allow manual login. Add the option in the login window to enter a username. Allow guest sessions. I'm going to enter in that. And there's no option for applying, so I'm just going to put that there. There's a message about granting permissions without asking for a password. That's fine. I entered in something else and put in the password, and I guess the second time it doesn't really ask for it. Okay, so let's move on with this. Okay, so continuing on here, next thing that you will want to do is you will want to update your system. I have already done that. Okay, we'll open up another terminal window. And what we'll do first is we'll go into Profile Preferences, and somewhere around here, under the scrolling tab, I guess, we will select Scroll Back Unlimited, as such. And it'll automatically apply that. I push close, so that'll be going now. The next step is to install Mint Upgrade. So that will be apt install Mint Upgrade. So it will install a couple of things. That should be a relatively quick process. Next thing we're going to do is run Mint Upgrade check. And what this is going to do is it's going to check our configuration, it's going to run a test to see if we can run this update and make sure that everything is going to work as intended. You would do very well to watch the output of this command, as the instructions tell you to do. Well, I tell you to follow the instructions, but you should really read what it's doing and understand what it's doing. Please don't run this command with root or elevated privileges. Okay, so we can fix that. So, do as I say, not as I do, don't run as root. It's already asked us to do something. Please remove genome-media. It is known to create issues with this upgrade. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Alright, we've done that, and we'll run it again. And we got another one. So I'm going to keep running this until I don't get any more, and then we'll see what the output is. Remember what I said about heeding my advice about reading the output? I thought it was an uninstallation I needed to do. It's an installation that I need to do. You see? See what it says there? Please install default-JRE. So you're getting to see in this how-to video how not to do an upgrade, courtesy of me. Okay, so the next step is obviously it's redirected my package manager now. Actually, I don't think it has. I think it's just tried to do an upgrade, because I see it's still pointing to the Jesse and the Betsy stuff. So I think the next step is to redirect my package, but I'll go back over and have a look. Alright. So we've done this, backed it up. Your repositories will now be switched to point to LMDE 3 Cindy. Any third-party repositories or PPA will be removed. So you better make note of those. A backup of your apt sources will be written to blah. Do you want to continue? Of course, we want to blithely assume that everything is going to work exactly the way that it's supposed to. So now we're going to Debian Stretch and LMDE Cindy. It's ignoring a lot of stuff. We'll see if this actually works. I believe when this is done, simulating an upgrade, it will now calculate package changes necessary to upgrade. If conflicts are detected, take note of the packages causing the issue, remove them, and reinstall them after the upgrade. Pay close attention to what appears on the screen and review the list of packages being removed during the upgrade. Take note of the packages being removed so you can eventually reinstall them after the upgrade. Okay. So we will just click on yes. Again, I don't know if I really care that much, because I don't really have anything installed here. So it is not going to upgrade, it's going to press N to abort, and it will restore our backup. So we're going to go back up and have a look at what it is removing, make sure it's not anything that I care about. Scroll back up through all the list of things that will be upgraded. I believe those are all new packages to install, and these are packages to remove. You can see my mouse dancing a little jig over there. Yours probably won't do that. It's just a byproduct of this mouse. That is very distracting. I don't see anything in there that'll make me angry if it gets removed. And again, like I said, I don't really have a lot of stuff on this system anyway, so it really doesn't make much of a difference. So that's our command. There's no conflicts, which is good. That's what we want to see. So the next thing that we're going to do, it does say that you should download the packages first, but I am not going to bother. I'm going to apply the upgrade immediately after this. So that's what we're going to do. Mint upgrade. Upgrade. Because basically there's an intermediate step that the instructions tell you to do called download, which will download the packages but not install them. Basically all you're doing is wasting your time because this is going to download them anyway. And you've already kind of sort of downloaded them, not really, but you do have your list of packages. So, I mean, if something screws up in the intermediary there, then restore from your backup. Okay. This is the last step. Well, almost the last step. Not quite. Still have a couple more things to do, clean up afterwards. But at least we're getting somewhere. I'm not going to show this whole process unless something breaks, in which case I will. Repositories will be switched to blah. Yes. Continue. This is exactly the same thing that it just did, and nothing really got screwed up. I don't believe I've installed any programs on this. Well, oh well. I don't remember what all I would have put on this machine, because I didn't really configure it to do much. I just set up Linux Mint Debian Edition and then put it away in the closet. You'll see this is a very simple process. You just have to be very attentive to what you're doing. More attentive than I'm being. I'm usually pretty attentive to this stuff. Tonight must just be one of those nights. Apt will now download the package updates necessary for the upgrade. Do you want to continue? Yes. Now is pretty much your chance to back out of this, because after you're done this, well, game over pretty much. Now, if this is anything like the upgrade to Linux Mint 19 went, there will probably be a failure somewhere around the way that I will have to work around. Which sucks, but that's just the name of the game. I'm going to let it download these, and I'll come back when it's started to install. Very minor side note while I'm waiting for this thing to download updates, which is taking no short of forever. I noticed something very amusing that you can do in the battery tab. It actually applies, too. Oh, you gotta have a little bit of fun every once in a while. I love how it says 100% and yet it was done. Okay, disabling screensavers, saving fstab, removing backlisted, blah blah blah. App will perform the upgrade. This operation is non-reversible. Make sure you have made backups, you tested it in live mode, and you performed your favorite superstitious tricks before proceeding. I obviously did all of those things, so we're going to proceed like a horse headed back to the stables. And now, what happens? I hope it's not going to want to download all that all over again, because it already downloaded them. See, we get a different listing there for some reason, which I think is a bug in the upgrade package, upgrade program. So we're probably going to run into exactly the same problem that we did last time, where a package fails to install, and I'm going to have to run and blindly experiment with the command line package management tools in order to fix that. Hopefully not. Alright, keyboard configuration, that's the first thing it's asking us. So, we are English US, I haven't changed that. It's already different from the last one, I don't think it asked me that. But it is installing new configuration files. So it is overwriting all of them. So if you made any changes to those, you probably should have saved those. But I'm going to let that conclude, or at least till it comes to an error, and then I will come back. We've had an interruption in our package installation process, which I might add is not very fast. Looks like we need to install, let's see, push enter. I want to install the SDA, that'll probably be a problem, but that's how I'm going to do it. Since that's how the, that's how I believe the installation went previously. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled program. Okay, it has asked me for my password again. So I'm going ahead and put it in. Looks like this might be our next set of upgrades. So it hasn't failed yet, but it's still definitely taking quite a period of time to install this mess. At least I didn't start it at 4 o'clock in the morning this time. And we get a question. There are services installed on your system which need to be restarted. When certain libraries, such as blah blah and blah, are upgraded, since these restarts may cause interruptions of service, blah blah blah, you'll be prompted, blah blah blah. You can choose this option to avoid being prompted, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. I'm going to select yes. Looks like we've reached the next step, finally. Or at least another step in the installation process. Ooh, dependency problems. Hopefully that doesn't mess anything up, although I suspect that it probably will. Reinstalling meta package for your edition of Linux Mint. Hopefully we are now at the point, it might take a little while, but a minute, where we're almost done and we're almost ready to reboot the system. Amazingly no errors yet. Here is the message that we want to see when everything is done. Well, it asks us to do sudo reboot, but I'm not going to. Actually, on second thought, I think I will. Okay, the system is now coming back after its reboot. With any luck, everything has worked the way that it's supposed to, but you can check for error messages by simply pushing the down key. As such, we can see all of the messages. Oh, it looks like for whatever reason we had a FSCK error. That's interesting, but it's coming up. So now's the moment of truth. Did our upgrade work as planned, or did that bomb out? Looks like it seems to have at least somewhat worked. My automatic login is trashed again. Might have to deal with that. Not very fast, is it? Hope that's not going to be a problem. I suspect it won't be, though. Be interesting to see if the sound works. I guess that answers that question. Oh man, I noticed my icons are a little off. I may need to fix that. Wonder how that happened. Hope they're not huge or anything like that. No. So we'll put these back where they belong. Oh. Okay, well. Everything is functioning as intended, though. So, there you go. There is a successful upgrade from Linux Mint Debian Edition version 2 to Linux Mint Debian Edition version 3. Not much to it. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then. Oh, I almost forgot a couple little extra steps here. Just in case you may happen to need them, I'm going to post them. Downgrading foreign packages, just in case it's necessary, we need to go to... Actually, it's not even in here. need to go to the menu, we need to go to Administration, and we need to go to Software Sources, which is going to ask for your password. Okay, so now that we're here, we need to go under Maintenance, Downgrade Foreign Packages. If we click on it, which I just did, we come here, and we get a couple of versions here. A couple of things. We need to select all of them. Can we just do that? No, you gotta select them manually. So suppose if you got a lot of these, that might be a problem. Oh, there's a select all button right down there. I didn't even notice it. Oops. Then we click on Downgrade. Okay, review the information below very carefully before validating the command. Well, I'm gonna just keep on going like a horse headed back to the stables. Because nothing could possibly go wrong, right? Yeah. The next step is to click on Remove Foreign Packages. And again, you'll want to make sure that you have a look at all these things. Make sure that none of them are possibly important. I don't think that any of them are. But I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to remove them. And blithely assume that everything is just going to work the way that it needs to. Looks like some kind of an error occurred there in calculating how much disk space was going to be freed. That's interesting. That or it wrapped around. Who knows? Oops. Okay, so that obviously isn't even going to work, so it may not even work for you. But anyway, once you've done that, then your upgrade process has completed.